Welcome to the PWNIE Awards 2011. So this year has been a pretty big year for security. A lot of stuff has happened. A lot of very interesting events. We have some very good nominations in all of the categories. We're very happy with all the submissions that we got. And one important thing to realize is that we get our submissions from the community. So every single one of you had the opportunity to send in a nomination. And we did receive a very large number of nominations, very high quality. So we're very happy with that. In the next hour, we're going to go through the different categories for different PWNIE Awards. But first, let me introduce the judges. So on the stage, we have Mark Dowd. H.D. Moore. Dave Itel, Dino Daizovi, whose last name, by the way, is Daizovi, not just Zovi. So when you arrange them in alphabetical order, put him under D. Thank you. Yeah. And finally, Ralph Philip Wyman, who is a new addition to the PWNIE judge team this year. And also me, Alex Soderov. One additional judge that we have who was unfortunately not able to be here is Halvar Flake, but he did send in his votes, so we took them into account. And also, on my right there, I have Sarah Willis, who will help us out with the ponies. And she will also make sure that none of the winners tries anything funny with the ponies. She is guarding them there very carefully, so don't try to snag one and run away. You'll fail. So, without further ado, let's start with the first category.
So, the first pony will be given to the best server bug. And this will be awarded to the person who discovered what we think is the most sophisticated, by our definition, sophisticated and advanced server-side bug. So also be aware that our definition of server-side has been disputed. So what we think constitutes a server-side bug is any bug that exploits a feature remotely without user interaction. So that is why some of the people wondered why we had something that other people thought was a client side. So the first submission we had in this category was for work that was done over, I think, more than a year by Juliano Rizzo and Tai Duong. So they used padding oracle attacks, which is a cryptographic technique that was pioneered by Serge Vaudenet to attack a number of web frameworks. And the nomination in this category goes for their work on ASP.NET because they were able to leverage this cryptographic technique to totally own ASP.NET installations. The second nomination goes to a bug discovered by Matt Bergen in the IIS FTP server. This was later, so Matt Bergen discovered this bug, and Ryan Smith and Chris Valasek did work on demonstrating that you actually can get control over EIP using this bug. The third submission we had was a rather funny one in the ISCDH client. This is actually the one that people thought was a client side. but it's not. So it turns out that there are a couple of shell scripts that parse the name that you send in a DHCP response, and this of course has some interesting side effects. So this one was discovered by Sebastian Kramer and Mariusz Tomaszewski. And then we had a submission for the stack recursion overflow that was discovered in the ipcomp decompression function by Tavis Ormandy. So whether this is actually exploitable in, well, whether this actually leads to more than a DOS is not known at the moment, but it is speculated that this could also be leveraged into remote code execution. And the last is a rather funny one as well. Unfortunately, we don't know the author for this one, but this gives a whole different dimension to spraying shellcode, because what this exploit actually did was it didn't spray machine shellcode, but it actually sprayed commands for a shell, a Unix shell. And by overriding an internal structure, this allowed to quite reliably gain RCE. And the winner for best server-side bug is ASP.NET by Juliano Rizzo and Tai Duong. Nice work.
Thank you.
Hey, that's yours. Nice work.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
So we also had submissions for best song, and we will interleave these with the rest of the submissions. So this is the first submission for best song. It's Eating Cookies by Jeremy Brown, and we'll play a 30-second segment of this song. No.
Sitting back while the heat coalesces. Now you know I can bypass protections using ROP, kill my 7 evil X's. Dip, SR, safe and linking to GS is BS and safe SEH you're through.
You should have supplied me with alcohol for dancing.
If there's cookies on the heap, I'ma eat them too. Check out these hops.
Okay.
All right, so the next category is for the best client-side bug. This goes to the person who discovered or exploited the most technically sophisticated or interesting in some other way client-side vulnerability. These days, that basically means web browsers because they're oh so juicy and full of bugs and oh so fun. So let's see what the nominees are. First one, for jailbreakme.com, goes to Comex. And this was an incredibly sophisticated set of vulnerabilities. The first one in free type library was especially interesting, we found. And if you went to my talk earlier, shameless plug, I was looking a little bit at iOS, and in doing so, Comex utterly shattered my self-esteem by dropping some insane techniques, and I thought it was really awesome. So heads up to him. The next one is the PWNIE Awards. Judges especially, we love drama. And so this one brought some of the drama, so we thought that was great. It's the Google Chrome sandbox bypass exploit from VuPen. This is, little light on the details. However, through some advanced reverse engineering of a posted screenshot, it was revealed that this this bypass in their video was likely through the Flash sandbox. And so the award goes, while there's some is it over the line, under the line, had to do a little refereeing on whether this counts. We decided that it does count because it demonstrated that the Flash sandbox, and Google Chrome is unfortunately a little weaker than the WebKit sandbox, and that's a good thing to know. Third nominee is a Java code-based bug discovered by, we'll just say, Frederic. I'm really horrible with these names. This bug also completely shattered my self-esteem because it was a simple code-based bug that would, if you had a mismatched code base that didn't match the jar, you actually would get privilege escalation. And so it's like, why are we wasting all this time with unreliable memory corruption and heap mojo, ASLR, dep, whatever, when bugs like this still exist? It's really complicated. And the fourth nominee goes to Vincenzo, Willem, and Ralph Phillip for their Pwn to Own bug against the BlackBerry that they used to win Pwn to Own this year. But as the rules are stated, now that Ralph is a judge, he may be nominated, but he may not win. So sorry, Ralph. And sorry, Mark, because Mark complains about this just about every year. And the final nominee goes to John Oberheide for his Android web market cross-site scripting vulnerability, proving that thanks to Google, with cross-site scripting, you can install arbitrary code on anyone's Android device. And yeah. So I'm sorry for saying cross-site scripting is lame sometimes. I hereby take it back. All right. Oh, sorry. The winner is Comex for Jailbreak Me. And is he here? Okay, that counts. We'll let you accept it for his behalf. Are you gonna accept it for him? Yeah, you know him. Come on. Oh, so go ahead.
All right. Great.
Right.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. I'll make sure.
Send my regards to Comex.
Will do. Thanks.
All right, and what you've been waiting for, the next song. Yeah. All right, I'll stop now. Dave promised he would dance more during his song.
Good. All right. Privilege escalation, near and dear to our hearts, or my heart anyway. So basically the ability to run as something other than what you were running at before. So it's sort of an apotheosis. I'm trying to make this as serious as possible. Too many syllables. All right, well, we've been listening to raps. What can I do? Obviously, lots of people got nominated. CSRSS, which for those of you who have not used it recently, is an intricate part of your trusted computing platform on Windows and does a bunch of confusing stuff that no one at Microsoft understands. Except apparently for Juru, for worst nick ever. But still pretty good bug. His paper on the exploit only referenced XP exploitation, and it's not 1992. So let's bring it next time. The Linux setfs bug. I never use that to own anybody, but it's pretty good. $Origin, on the other hand, really good. Maybe used it, maybe not. I don't know. Does work on your systems, probably still. And of course, 40 different bugs. And that's not you know, a lot, really, if you look at it. I mean, come on. So win32k.sys, it's exactly that. It tells you. It's very well named. It gives you system. So that's still true. That's cool. Tarjay Mant is the founder of that bug, and I'm sure many of you used it. It's awesome. You know, it's cool. And here's the winner. Guess which one?
Thank you.
He's a man of few words. But more bugs, I guess. Is this song playing now?
Hit next.
Spacebar or next? No, I'm not dancing. No. You have to listen to the lyrics. Okay, that's good. And now the incomparable H.D. Moore. Alex? Okay, the somewhat comparable Alex. Sorry.
Okay, so the next category is for most innovative research. This is one of my favorite categories because it really highlights the high quality output that our community generates. We award this award to the person who has published the most innovative piece of research, which could be a full-on paper, it could be just a presentation, it could even be a mailing list post that has some significant impact on advancing the state of the art. So the nominees are, first, stackjacking, John Oberheid and Dan Rosenberg. This research was pretty interesting because John and Dan attacked GRSec, which is one of the hardest possible targets to attack. But they came up with some pretty interesting exploitation techniques involving leaking stack memory and then overriding specific locations inside the kernel. Of course, the PAX team and Spender responded to this research very, very quickly. They shipped a bunch of patches that broke the techniques that John and Dan presented. But after that, John and Dan published another blog post where they showed how some of those patches actually made some other alternative exploitation techniques easier while fixing the original ones. So it's really a cat and mouse game. It's an arms race at this point between attacks and defenses, and that's why this presentation and this research was worthy of a nomination. Next, we have Understanding and Exploiting Flash ActionScript Vulnerabilities by Haifei Li. This research focused on figuring out how bytecode vulnerabilities in the Flash ActionScript engine work and how they can be exploited. The presentation was very thorough. I really enjoyed reading it. And Haifei presented a number of different ways you could leverage these vulnerabilities to bypass DEP and ASLR. The third nomination goes to Aaron Portnoy and Logan Brown for their work on black box auditing Adobe Shockwave. They presented this at CanSec West earlier this year. In this presentation, they went over the complete cycle of reversing this massive product, totally undocumented internals, starting basically from scratch. They talked a lot about their methodology and how you can apply these techniques to doing this large-scale reversing of other applications. So that's why this research was pretty interesting. Next, we have Piotr Bania, who got nominated for his paper called Securing the Kernel via Static Binary Rewriting and Program Shepherding. This paper was very interesting because in the paper, Piotr Bania described how he took some of the ideas from PAX future.txt, which is the document that shows all of the potential defensive ideas that PAX and GRSec have thought about or as like possibilities, but have not yet implemented, maybe because they're too hard, they're too advanced. So Piotr had taken some of these ideas, combined them with program shepherding, which is another well-known technique. And putting them together, he figured out how to implement them in Windows without access to the source code, using static binary rewriting. So he managed to rewrite all the kernel drivers in Windows to add those protections in them. And he managed to get this to work without crashing the system. So if he can do that, just imagine what people who actually have the support of a company can do. But unfortunately, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, a lot of the development in these defensive techniques comes from places like PAX, GRSEC, and other independent researchers, which is kind of interesting, I think. And then finally, we have the paper Understanding the LFH Heap, which was presented at last Black Hat by Chris Balasek. This was the most thorough presentation on the LFH heap that I have seen. It was extremely well researched, very, very nice to read, and also very useful if you wanted to do anything with the LFH heap. So, the winner for most innovative research is Piotr Bania. I believe this is actually the third or maybe fourth nomination for Piotr in this very category. He has been publishing some very good research over the years, so we were happy to finally be able to give him a pony. Is anybody here who can accept the award on his behalf? Yes. There you go. Oh, you want to say a few words? No? Okay. How do you know Piotr? Okay. If the pony doesn't get to Piotr, we'll track it down. It has a built-in GPS receiver. So the next song nominated for Best Song is Hacker Hacker by FX of Phenolit and DJ Dom Williams. This song actually has a video, so we're going to play it in style.
Smoke your hats into the clouds. Come on. This is Phenolit, and we want to say a big thanks to you and to all hackers all over the world to the tangent. And these are Steve Topless, the Black Steve, Toby Klein.
Yeah, apparently putting the names of the Pony Awards judges is a pretty good way to get yourself in the ceremony. So back to the slides.
So this is my favorite category by far. I've been dealing with vendor idiocy for a long, long time, even before I became a vendor. And it's always fun to see which vendors fail the most spectacularly in the response to security research. There's been all sorts of great examples over the years. There's HP trying to sue somebody over, or sue Kevin and those folks at Snowsoft over something years ago. All sorts of just terrible, terrible replies. Core Security usually does a pretty good job of getting some awful replies out of vendors, but this year the nominations actually are NetWare for taking a software product that has been battle tested, the most attempted exploited piece of software on the planet for years. This thing hasn't had a really reliable remote execution bug since at least 2005, 2006, depending how you call it, and NetWare added their own exploit to it. And then denied the fact that they added an overflow, a standard stack overflow, to OpenSSH authentication routines. And they actually published it as a denial of service vulnerability. It wasn't until ZDI says, no, no, here's EIP 41414141 that they said, okay, we maybe have a problem. So they're nominated for handling that entire process from 1, implementing the bug, to 2, denying it, to 3, calling it a DOS, all the way through this process. So NetWare, woo! I don't think it exists anymore, but so hopefully someone can still accept the reward if they actually win. So the next nomination is Music Maker 16 Stack Overflow. Now in your head you're saying, WTF, what the hell is that crap? Who the hell uses this thing? Why does it matter? Why would anyone even bother with this crap? And you're right, it's pointless. It's yet another piece of crap music software that you probably download as shareware out there. But the one thing that set this company apart is when the Corland guys, you know those guys who wrote those like 80-page awesome exploit tutorials, they started working on an overflow they found and they wanted to release an exploit. Well, they got a legal threat from the Music Maker 16 people saying, we will sue you if you release an exploit for our software. And it worked. They actually held back the exploit till like way after the patch was released because the vendor was dragging their butt on the patch. But they get nominated simply for the fact that they're such a no-name little putz company, and they still managed to like whip out a legal, threat against a couple like open source security researchers and keep them from presenting a bug. So that just puts them in the asset category as far as I'm concerned. The third nomination is for RSA. Ah, crap! And I don't like MacBooks. I'm blaming your keyboard. So the background RSA, before I go back to that again, the background RSA was they had this issues with secure IDs over the year. Now that you know they won. But basically, they said that, hey, someone may have gone in and taken all of our secret keys to the thing that makes our company, in our name of our company. And they wouldn't really tell anyone what happened about that. Besides, something happened, we're taking care of it. And then that eventually got dragged out to, hey, maybe people are being compromised through this. Or, hey, maybe we're reissuing keys to all of our big customers, but not you. And finally got dragged out to, well, we'll reissue your secure token if you want. It's like, why would you not want your token reissued if it's been compromised at the root all the way through? Anyhow, so it's the basic lack of information available, the fact that it was drawn out so long, the fact there's so much nebulous information about what actually was compromised and not compromised, and that they lost literally the keys to their kingdom and are still around is what nominated them and actually led to their winning this particular category. So if we have a representative from RSA here, feel free to come on up and pick up your awesome pony. Nobody, we know you're here. There's 16 of you, we counted. All we need is one. Send out the intern. All right, we'll find you later. So the next song is Glee Annie. This is the YouTube video, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm dealing with this. This is actually in Italian, but there's English subtitles.
Quanti ricordi e penso un po' a chi eravamo noi, gli anni d'oro dei grandi esploit, gli anni dei primeri per Apache.
All right, I can't take anymore. All right. Thanks.
Okay, so, wait. The next category is the Lifetime Achievement Award. And this was not an easy decision, but as for all of the categories, we voted democratically on this. And the winner of this award will be someone who has had a major impact on all of our work. So you might want to guess who that is. Let's go back like a decade. So the winner for the Lifetime Achievement Award is PIPAX. So, wait, how many of you were aware that PAX was the work of someone by the name PIPAX in this room? Okay, that's just basically the front row, right? So, I'd like to say a couple of words why the award was given to PIPAX. So, Microsoft today has announced a challenge giving out $200,000 for work very similar to that has been done and given away for free by PIPAX a decade ago. So all of the operating systems that we use today that have protections against memory, what is our preferred word here? We had trespass, right? Against memory trespasses. All of these protections mechanisms can be traced back to the work of PIPAX. What Microsoft is asking for is an extension of that, and they're giving out $200,000 for something that was something similar to what has been done by PIPAX a decade ago. Yes. So yeah. Sorry, I'm being unintentionally funny here. Yes, ASLR, I should drop that. So, I mean, PIPAX invented the address space layout randomization, and I think this is the why we award this prize to him.
All right, so actually, before we go into this category, I wanted to make a small editorial note. Many of these categories, we want to make sure that for some of these categories that it's not, that we don't construe that we are condoning this sort of behavior, we are merely recognizing its significance. So if we're doing something like inventing ASLR, we're not condoning this type of behavior. But we have to admit that it is quite significant, and for that, we must recognize it. All right, so for this category, this is the pony for the most epic fail, because nothing looks more awesome than giving everything your 110%, soaring on your dreams, and just failing even harder because of that. And what good would the internet be if it didn't document your trivial mistakes or your horrible, horrible failures for your entire life and the entire lifetimes of every generation that follows us? And this is where we are trying to bring a little extra attention to those failures. Again, we're not condoning it. We're just recognizing significance. So, wait, I don't want anyone to jump to any conclusions here. I know we all have our favorites. We all think it's a shoo-in, but there always can be a wild card. So in case anyone has not worked in this industry for the last year, or not read the internet, or not played any video games, or not bought any music, I don't know. Let's go over some of these failures. So first, GeoHot jailbroke the PS3 along with fail overflow and published the private key, and unaware of how the internet worked, Sony was like, oh, we can just get them to take it down. And we've never heard of this Barbra Streisand effect or how hard it is to take pee out of a swimming pool. This will work fine. That's a fail. Has anyone tried to take piss out of a swimming pool before? Okay, how many of you work in incident response? Huh? Come on. All right. So I know you know their pain. What else? What else did Sony do? Let's see. Oh, right. Have you heard of these guys? Louise Sec? Louise Boat. Sorry, Louise Boat. Apparently, due to them and everyone and their cousin owning them, basically they had to shut down the PSN and the PlayStation Network for those of us who don't play the PlayStation. And basically take it down for 2 months to rebuild it from scratch because apparently it was a fairly porous network. But there's actually a benefit of this. There's always a silver lining. So now people that have no idea about the importance of information security know that security is important because without it, you can't play your games. If you can't play their games, you go crazy. So, you know, now that the network is back up, the murder rate has gone down. So we can all be thankful for this. So, you know, rest assured we'll all have jobs at least for the next 6 months while, you know, we have a world economy. What else has Sony failed for? Oh yeah, lost a few credit cards, a few tens of millions. Oh, right. So, if there's going to be well, no one has a crystal ball, but suppose there is an onslaught of attacks, you might go back and be like, well, you think we laid off like almost an entire team a few months ago. Who was it? Network security. Do you think they had what could have helped us out with this? So apparently they laid off a bunch of people on their security team, and then they got hacked a little while later. Would have been handy to have them still around. Anything else? All right. Sony security. What? Oh yeah. No, that's physical security. Sony has a physical security certification, totally different than information security. And yeah, so a bunch of stuff. So the winner goes to Sony. All right. Do we have anyone from Sony here to accept the award? All right, then is anyone from LulzSec here to accept it on their behalf? LulzSec, please don't hack us. Thanks.
Okay, this is a new category that we've introduced this year. It's the pony for epic ownage. As Dino mentioned before, and I would like to reiterate, we don't condone this behavior. Our lawyers have told us to say. So, but there has been some significant breaches over the last year that have impacted our industry, so that's why we have this award. Okay, the first nominee is for Anonymous. They managed to gain access to a company called HB Gary Federal and leaked their mail spool all over the internet. This was basically a retaliation for their former CEO, was it, Aaron Barr, who, as Stephen Colbert succinctly put it, found a hornet's nest and stuck his penis into it. So, obviously there was a lot of press follow-up from this, and there was a lot of the email spool was dissected and analyzed, and there was some pretty interesting stuff there. The next one is for LulzSec. A little-known hacking group that can be found on Twitter, or could until recently. They obviously hacked a number of pretty high-profile websites and made us all feel quite silly. The third one was Bradley Manning and WikiLeaks. Again, over the course of a little while, when he was working in the military, he gained access to and allegedly, my legal team has told me to say, made available a great deal of information about the US Army over in Afghanistan, Iraq, the US diplomatic cables, and the now infamous video footage from the Army. And the last nominee is Stuxnet, which is a... it's... the way I'd categorize this is there's a non-violent protest against the Iran nuclear program. Allegedly by some government with, some pretty advanced intelligence capabilities. We suspect Belgium. So the winner for Epic Ownage for this year goes to Stuxnet. Because how many of your 0 days have disrupted a country's nuclear program? So that's pretty impressive. Does anyone want to come and accept the award? I guess not.
All right, so the pony for the best song goes to Geo Hot, and we're going to play it now on the magic of YouTube. TM Google, which is not here. Oh, there we go. How do I make this screen big? Just press play, excellent. Look at that look, everyone's staring into his eyes.
Yo, it's Geo Hot. And for those that don't know, I'm getting sued by Sony. Let's take us out of the courtroom and into the streets. I'm a beast, at the least you'll face me in the Northeast. Get my ire up, light the fire. I'll go harder than Eminem went at Mariah. Call me a liar, pound me in the ass with no Luke Chafin. You're fucking with the dude who got the keys to your safe, man. Those that can't do bring suits. Cry to your Uncle Sam to settle disputes. Thought you'd tackle this with a little more tact, but then again, fudge packers, I don't know jack. I shed a tear every time I think a lick sang. But shit, man, they're a corporation, and I'm a personification of freedom for all. You fill dockets like that's a constant foreign to y'all. But lawyers muddy water and TRO stall. Out of business is jail for me, and you're suing me civilly. Exhibit this in the courtroom. Go on, do it, I dare you.
Oh, that is just so good. He's so talented and so white. It's crazy. But is he here or is he in Fresno? Fresno it is. I don't know. No, he needs to come up and collect it himself. Okay, so that is, I believe, the last category. If I can bring the slide. Actually, the slides are over. That's it, man. It's too bad. But, yep. Someone's got a client side. Is this your laptop, Sodorov? Nice. All right. Well, there you go. Shall we just browse the desktop now? No. Epic Ownage on screen. No. Thank you for having us. It's an honor.